Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to be doing this video on the lunar eclipse. That's going to be on Monday, March the 25th. 24. It's going to be in Libra. All right, and we'll be going over a little things. I just want to say, I know I have been out. I have been away. For a while, I've had a lot of medical issues with my hip, my eye. All seems to be on the left side of my body that I'm dealing with. And so anyway, I just want to let y'all know I'm sorry. Our health comes first in all areas of our life. I mean, you can't do anything if you don't have good health going on in your life and you're struggling with some things there. Gotta get to that cord, it's in my way. All right, but I'm here now, so I'm going to be looking at this lunar eclipse and talking about it and what it all means. And I'm going to let me get this moved over. Here. All right. All right. All right. So, got everything together. I hope the chat is going to work fine this time. That I don't have any issues with that. When I go into the astrology part, there's a few things I want to kind of just cover here, so you'll know some meanings. If you don't know what the meanings are, how can you follow along? Than to just say this or that and what it means. I don't put in a lot of stuff into my astrology because for all of us, I don't know birth chart. I don't know your time of birth and all that. I don't know where the planets are for you at the time. Remember that your time of birth is a snapshot of the universe of where things are at that time, where the planets are, what houses they are dealing with, what's going on there. So, like I said, it's all general, okay? Unless you're doing a one-on-one reading with somebody, you know their birth chart, you can pull it up, you can look, you can pull out dates, times, and all this, and compare them. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that this is general. It's just letting you know where the planets are now. If you have your birth chart, fine, pull it out. Look at it as I talk about where everything is at right now. Okay, so let's jump on over into the astrology. All right, as you can see right here, just a little bit bigger. What's going on so I can see it. Okay, good. First thing you're seeing here, you're seeing the chart. Aries always is the starter. Like I said, the eclipse will be in Libra, and I'm showing you the eclipses that are going to happen during the 2024. This would be the lunar. So the one we're having now is March 25th, 3 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. This is based on my time, where I'm at. It's a prenumbulum. Don't quote me on the prenumbral eclipse. It's not a total. A total won't happen till next year on March the 24th. So it's always kind of, I don't know what it is with me with the prenumbral. It's kind of like not total, it's not partial, but it's sort of always say, think of an umbrella. I don't know why, but it always comes, an umbrella comes to my mind. It will be a 5-degree, 7 minutes, um, Aries, where the sun is, and Libra is where the moon will be at 5 degrees. So, just want to show that to you and let you know. Next one will be in September. It'll be a partial, and then we'll have the total in March of next year. So it's kind of a, we always look at the eclipses as endings, the lunar eclipses as endings of something. But this is like what these lunar eclipses will be going through till next March 14th. And I look at it, may be wrong here, don't quote me on it, so it may be wrong, but I look as where the total becomes the ending. So whatever is covering at this time, it does is sort of some sort of working toward an ending of something here that is covering, of making you aware, bringing awareness. Because remember, the moon and the sun are illuminators as well. So, and like I got up there, this is Eastern Standard Time. You have to adjust according to your area. Like I said, it is general. So I wanted to show you that part. So I do have, okay, this is sort of mine, ingression of Pluto into Virgo. That's 1958. That's my time of birth, the date of my birth too as well. I've been looking at some things with this as well, but you can see the eclipse here. Again, it correlates with the time at 3 in the morning. On March the 25th, 2024. Now, let's look at the ingressions that have happened so far. For March 19th, we had the sun move into Aries. As you can see, it is in Aries. It's at 3 degrees now, but it moved there on the 19th. So it's our spring season. Also where we moved our clocks forward as well has already been done, and that happened at 23 11:06 p.m. So we did have the sun that ingressed as well. Where is my, here we go. Bring up the ingressions here. The moon, bring this into calculation as well. We'll go to March. Oops, pulled up the wrong thing. And we'll go, I keep grabbing the wrong thing every time. March, it's not showing the eclipse here, but this 24th is when the moon will move into Libra, and will begin. So I can go ahead and apply that so we can see it on the chart. You'll see it enters Libra. A lot of stuff going on here, a lot of oppositions, squares that it's going to create when it moves in and ingresses into Libra. It will start off with creating a T-square when it moves in with Vista. And this is where I'll get into where I'll explain a little bit with Vista. Neptune, we know Neptune is that planet that rules Pisces. And it will present, creativity, it's spirituality. Also, the 12th houses have something, do with karma. We got to be careful with karma, not creating karma, letting things go. And this is part of where you will be working toward. This is my feelings on it, that you will be working toward, since it's not a total eclipse, lunar eclipse, it is what I said, a prenumbral eclipse. So it's kind of getting us ready for that total that will happen in Virgo in 2025, where there'll be a partial in Pisces September the 17th in this year. That will be a partial. And then that will prepare us for the total that's going to happen next year on the 25th. So we have, like I said, the 24th, which would be tomorrow. It will enter into Libra, and it will create this T-square to begin with. As you can see here. Now, and it will be an opposition with Neptune. Remember, the moon has an influence with the tides, with the oceans, and the emotions. And so you're going to want to seek some sort of, with Libra, balance here. Justice, maybe something with justice as well. Clarity. Libra is that something in partnership, relationships, having a balance there. But with there being a T-square here, it's about leading to Vista. Becoming more, Libra's going to help with the emotions to seek balance. Clarity. Away from what our ideals or our thoughts might be. With Neptune can create. Pisces is where we create things as well. Ideals, thoughts. Has a lot to do with music. Being very creative, artistic in some way. But we all know we got to keep our heads on straight. We can't just go be crazy, in what we do. And I don't know why this thing, I don't have a clock running, so I don't know why it's timing out. Could be something with my feed as well. Okay. Still getting the hourglass. Okay, there we go. I'm just waiting for it to do. Now, the moon being in Libra, it forms this opposition with Neptune. And it also has a square to Vista. Neptune forms this square to Vista as well. What is Vista? And you've heard me talk about it. Vista is the keeper of the spiritual flame. And there is a lot of spirituality that has to deal with Pisces. The subconscious mind, where things just sort of come up out of the subconscious. that create this feeling. And we've got to really, with Libra, is to keep ourselves together, keep ourselves balanced, keep ourselves even keeled, face reality of something here. It also represents the sacred feminine creative energy that allows you to dedicate yourself to what your aspirations are here, as well as your plans or your goals. That, I've talked about this with Vista. Vista is so important. And Vista shows where you have a nun, N-U-N, which is again that spiritual flame, devotion to a cause, a project, a person, or even a belief that is sacred to you. So, dealing with others, we have to not go too far out in what we believe. If a fine example of that would be if you thought your partner was running around, or whatever ideals that come out of the subconscious, we have to battle it. That we keep it, like, if it's not real and you don't know for sure, don't make allegations because you believe something. If you don't have the facts and you don't have the proof, you can't definitely do something there. If it's a project that you're involved in, you really have these plans for this project, go to work on it. Really start looking at it and your plans here for a project or whatever you plan on doing. Be real about it. Whatever it is you're trying to create here, and whatever the goal is that you want to reach here, you have a cause. You want to implement some project. Well, you got your plans together. Are you really being very realistic and balanced and looking at the reality of something and really thinking? Because we're looking at Vista in Gemini, and Gemini is about thinking, what you think. Whereas Pisces is what you believe. Your subconscious is maybe trying to get you to believe something that you shouldn't, until you actually know something and really have you're justifiable in that with Libra in those scales, and you weighed everything out before you let something go in your life. This is where the point is, because come next year, where that total eclipse will be, like I showed you, that's going to happen next year in Virgo, this is where, logic and really getting to the facts of things, really putting the work in. Is this real, or can I make this a reality? Can I make the necessary adjustments? Can I put all the pieces together? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Because next year, when that March the 14th, when there is that total lunar eclipse at 23 degrees, where the sun will be there in the 23 degrees, and the moon will be in Virgo, you're going to say, is this going to work? It could definitely be your relationships, your partnerships. It'll be real important for Virgo in the future. Whatever the project may be, whatever the cause may be, whatever it is you believe, you're either going to, by the time of March 14th of next year, you're going to either work this out, or you're going to let it go. Because you'll be done. Whatever it is, it'll be done. That's when the real ending comes. You will have either started making something real a reality, or whatever it is, but just especially for like Libras and Pisces and Aries and Virgo. These are really three of the main ones there, or the four, I would say: Libra, Aries, Pisces, and Virgo. Is going to become very important next year, those four signs of where all this is happening in relationships. It's either going to work and you're going to be really devoted to it and dedicated to it, or by the end of next year, you'll say, well, I put everything into it and it just didn't work for me. So I feel like it's going to really have a big impact on those four signs in relationship, partnerships, who you connect with. They're either going to have such a big impact on you in some way, and how you help one another, or even work together, or bring the realistic in. There's, and I can see that. I can relate to this. I can relate to this for the simple fact because I'm a Virgo. My partner was a Libra. So, when we're looking at, he's sort of my seventh house, and I'm his seventh house. So, is it going to work or not? Are we going to, we're going to do this together or not? So I can kind of relate to this when it comes to relationships and partnerships. Are we in this together or we're not? Because remember, Gemini is the twins. It's the two. And remember, it's also, as far as the tarot cards, it's the lovers. The duality, the two coming together and working as a team. Are they both working toward the same goal? Are they both aspired into something here? And only, it's a big thing about time. Time will tell. Now, it's going to be a little different with the solar eclipse, because what happened back in August of 2017, that's 7 years ago. Now, this is where there will be a new beginning. That's interesting, too, because if the moon represents the ending and the sun represents a new beginning, and we're talking about the total lunar eclipse coming in 2025, then yeah. So don't be jumping the gun on whether you're going to let something go. Don't be irrational. Weigh everything. Know what it truly is that you believe. Now, another thing I want to say here, with this, we're going to go with Mars. Mars just, dang it, I did it again. Mercury, let's talk about Mercury a minute. March the 9th, Mercury is in Aries right now, okay? And Mercury is at 23 degrees. So Mercury is fixing to go, when it hits 27 degrees, it's going to go stationary and retrograde. So it's only got 4 more degrees to go. And it's going to go back into Aries, and it's going to go back toward Chiron, and it's going to go back to where it was at 15 degrees here. It's going to move all the way back to the 15-degree mark, which is somewhere around in between where the ascending is and where the north node is. It'll move back to that. So it's going to connect back with Chiron, and it's going to connect back with the north node. Now, talking about the north node, in this case, I don't use the true north nodes, because those nodes, the true, is a degree of the sun and moon, or the moon. And it deals with the eclipses. So with this dealing with the eclipse of the moon, is there some sort of retrospect on something here as Mercury moves back Are you reassessing something here that could do with this lunar eclipse that you're looking? What am I willing to let go of for the future? Are you going to let go of some karmic situations from the past? Are you going to release maybe old bad things that have happened in the past 7 years? I don't know. But we do have, as you can see here with Mercury, as it goes on April the 1st. That's kind of a weird day, too. April the 1st. That's what, April Fool's Day? It's not a joke. You know? Don't take things jokingly when this thing goes stationary. It's kind of serious here on it. That it will go retrograde at 27 degrees. And then, like I said, it's going to move April the 25th. That's 24 days, 25, 20, 26 days. If you add the one to it, that's 26 days, really. 25, because you count one, and then the 25, you got to count those two, right? So, anyway, it starts at stationary at 6:14 p.m. in Aries. Then on April 25th, it moves all the way back to that 15 degrees mark, and that would be in the morning, right at 9 o'clock. The day starts, and it's going stationary and direct. And like I said, it's right in between where the ascending is now and that north node. Now, again, I'll go back to the north node. What I said, the north node, the true north node, you can see there's a little M in there in parentheses. That means mean. And I'll just define it for you. But if I was using the true north nodes, which I don't use, I use the mean nodes. The true north node is the location of the exact moment in time. It's the moon's connection with the eclipses. Okay, so in this moment in time, we're going to have an eclipse, of course. But Mercury still hasn't gone retrograde. It's still moving forward. But it's going to be drawn back that direction. There's something here that's going to draw you back into thinking, rethinking. Remember, anything that's retrograde is you're reassessing, you're rethinking, you're reviewing. It's retroactive. You're going to go back to a place of time. I use the mean nodes, and I'll define that one for you. The reason I use them is because the mean nodes are a symbol of an individual's life path. You're going to look at your life path and where you want to head for the future. Because this is that Mercury is going to be going, like I said, Chiron, North Node, the mean node. Where are you in your life path? What is the direction you want to take? It's also your personal growth. Have you been growing spiritually? Have you been learning? Have you took the karmic lessons and learned anything from them? If you were a person who, say in the past, you went strictly on your belief system, oh, my partner's stealing money from the business, my partner is this or that in business, or cheating me or something like this, I just know they're this or whatever. Or even if you think they're a good partner, are you reassessing something now? Are you going back in time and looking at something here? And also in relationships, were you always, I don't want to say accusing, but always had the idea that your partner was cheating and all this, and you accused them of it, and it wasn't real. It was just your subconscious mind saying, something's not right here, I'm not sure. So he or she's got to be cheating. And if you don't have the conversation of telling that person something's wrong here. If you don't have the communication with that person and discuss what the issues of what you feel are, then you would be wrong to make some sort of allegation, or just because your mind during an eclipse or a full moon, just, I know my partner's cheating on me. I know my business partner is stealing from me. I know this is lying. If you don't have proof of something, you remember how people go around now? Everybody's going out and coming out in the public. And they said, I got receipts. If you don't have the receipts, then shut your mouth. Don't make an allegation just because your subconscious mind brings something up. Some emotional thing, some trauma maybe you've suffered in the past. Okay? Well, they did this in the past. They'll do it again in the future. Not always. And unless you have the receipts to prove it, don't accuse it. So you're going to go back in this. And like I said, I use the mean notes because it's a symbol of an individual's life path, where you're headed, your personal growth, and karmic lessons. Have you learned the lessons from the past, or are you still doing the same thing over and over again? Are you still reliving the hurt and the wounds? Oh, if they did it then, they'll do it again. They may. I don't know. But if you don't have the receipts, don't accuse. If you don't have your facts, well, there's too much of that going on right now in the court system. But if you've got the proof, a picture says 1,000 words. A receipt says 1,000 words. It points at a time and place. Right? Receipt. You go to the store, you buy something, it's got a timestamp on it. You were here at this store at this time. This was your location. This is what you did and what you got and how long, maybe you were there, or the time that you did this or that. That's why they call them receipts. Somebody goes to a party, pictures are taken, right? Oh, we had a party on so-and-so date at so-and-so time at so-and-so location. I'm telling you, a lot of this is what's going to be shown. That's going to come out because Neptune is stealing, it has that conjunction with the moon, with the sun. And it's feeding something of an illusion, maybe to make you see something that you can't, that's not real, but bringing something to the light that you need to maybe address here. And if you don't have the proof, you can't, you may not be on the right path. And it may hinder your goals or your aspirations of what you want to achieve here. Because if you're looking at all this, you can see the conjunctions here with all this energy. That this is ascending. This is coming up at this time. And it's creating this T-square here. My thing is on hold again. I gotta wait a minute before I can switch over to there. I did want to do Mars before I moved on because Venus is halfway through it with it's at 16 degrees as well as the nodes are. So this could be definitely something here about You know, beauty, love, relationships, um, spiritual. You gotta give forgiveness. A lot of times people have the hardest time forgiving. I ain't forgiving that dirty scoundrel or that crazy woman or whatever. You know, if you can't learn to forgive and move forward in life, that's where your growth comes from. That's where your spiritual growth comes from. And that's where you learn the karmic lessons. Yeah, I may have learned something from the past. And I know and picked up signs, you know, that I should have seen this, I should have seen that. Often we're asked when somebody does something, well, didn't you see the signs? What was it you missed there? So you may be thinking back on those signs that you saw, or an awareness that came about. And you may get some enlightenment. What you thought isn't what it truly is. So you have to show forgiveness. Now, think still. Gosh, come on. Don't tell me I'm gonna need to get a new computer. I wanted to go on to Mars, but it's not gonna let me. Yeah, I know it's not responding. I get it. I don't know what's running in the background that's slowing everything down other than my OBS. Oh, come on. Um, now, um, so that's why I said I use the mean nodes. I don't use the true nodes. Um, Also, I want to say right now the sun being in while we're waiting. Okay, thank you. The next thing we have here, I'll do the aspect again. We have a yod, which is the finger of God, and it's Venus in a sextile. And remember, the sextiles deal with uh, the initiating something. You have to think. You have to uh, initiate that forgiveness or that love of something. It's always that thing, if you let it go, it'll come back if it's meant to be. But you have to take some sort of, to me, sextiles are all about taking some sort of action. And it's going to Jupiter. This is something about Venus and Jupiter. Those are two uh, benefic planets of growth, spiritual growth. Remember that um, that Venus is sitting in Pisces, which is spiritual growth, and Jupiter, the optimistic, being very optimistic, is in that second house of your self worth, your possessions, your how you value yourself here, or how you value um that that spiritual growth, and it's in a quincunx. Jupiter is with that south node. Is we being judged, if we, the finger being pointed at us from God, that hey, you got to show forgiveness here. There's karmic lessons you got to learn, and this has to deal with Venus. You got to show love and forgiveness, As you know, can you stand there and point the finger at somebody else when you're doing the right thing? Are you above this person? Have you never sinned in your life? Have you never done something wrong and you've been judged for it harshly and wrongfully? Is this where it's time that these two versus these two, putting the work into something here, into the relationship? Have you worked just as hard in forgiving somebody? Have you asked for forgiveness? Remember, there's oppositions here. Look at all this opposition. And Mars is coming into the picture here. And what is Mars? Not a nice one. It's aggression. Mars is known as the warrior. But it's also the initiator. So we do know that, hey, are you learning some karmic lessons here about forgiveness? And how valuable that is to you, or maybe even to the other person. Now, remember also, looking at Neptune at 27 degrees here, that's, to me, is a representation of the hand of God. And we have the finger, which is attached to the hand. And it just, I just, when I was talking about the forgiveness and who's without sin here, I was thinking of the woman who was being judged harshly by the men in the community, because they say she was a loose woman and she ran into Christ. And they called him rabbi, teacher. And they said, "Oh, she's a fornicator. She's, adulteress and all this stuff, And they wanted to stone her to death. And Christ stood there and he listened to them. He tried to talk to them. Well, they didn't want to listen, but how do they wanted to know what his thoughts were. Well, but you should agree with us. And the whole time he's drawn in the sand. And if you notice, the symbol that he made was the fish. But look at where Neptune, the degrees of Neptune, is setting. It's setting right there where Mars is now coming in. And it's at 1 degrees now. And he would not raise his hand toward her. No, I'm not going to throw a stone at her. And then that's when he said, if you're without sin, then throw the first stone. Any man that stands here, if you're without sin, throw the first stone. Well, boy, did that make them think. Remember Mercury retrograde? They started going back over their life path, where they sinned in life. And how can you accuse someone or judge someone or destroy someone or harm someone by your hand if you're without sin? Forgiveness is the most valuable characteristic of a person to have, to forgive someone. We're all not without sin. So when you start weighing on that scale and you start looking at something, you better look about your own self. Make sure it's all fair and equal. And if your sins are a lot more than that other person's, don't. And even if it's as light as a feather, it says more about the person who's able to forgive than it does about the sinner itself. Because there's so much evil going on in the world now, and what's going on. There's some things some sins that can never be forgiven. I know that. Uh, and we have to think about that. And the only thing I can say on this is with this lunar eclipse, it's going to happen. It's let's go to Venus and see. It moved in on March the 11th, and it'll be there till April the 5th. So it's during Mercury's retrograde that Venus will move into Aries, and it'll be there till the 29th. Now remember, Mercury, these two will come in contact with one another uh, during April, because Mercury will go direct on the 25th of April. And Venus will be there till the 29th when it moves into Taurus. So it will come into conjunction with uh, Mercury during the retrograde. And those two will begin to start to move together um, into Taurus. Now, Mars, I'm just going to look at Mars here a minute. Mars will move into April the 30th into Aries. Which by then Venus and Mercury will be leaving and going into Taurus, where they'll come in with Jupiter and Uranus. Now, when Jupiter and Venus come together, that will be very, very powerful. Okay, so these were the two I was showing you about. The Yod, okay, it's dealing with Venus and that South Node, that karmic lessons, your life path, your personal growth, and Jupiter, the two benefic planets, that of expansion and growth and forgiveness. What are you willing to give up here? What are you willing to let go of something here? It's a challenge for you to overcome too, so you can ascertain your aspirations, your goals, your plans, and what you believe. That spiritual flame. You're gonna light that torch. Are you gonna clear your head and get it out of your rear end and stop fighting something just because your subconscious mind keeps bringing something to the surface? Are you going to let this go? Are you going to overcome this challenge? Because if you do, and you put that work in, which Saturn is telling us there's going to be a time, you're going to have to put the effort and the work in. Saturn requires this father time. Let's see, am I seeing anything that's out of bounds right now? Vista is out of bounds by 1 degree. So when something is out of bounds, it can be negatively expressed, leading to sort of some abnormal or unstable behavior, which is outside the accepted standards of society. And I said Vista is out of bounds because what? There's a challenge there. Its energy can be indicated a tendency toward mental imbalance, or at the very least created a lot of pressure and stress in an individual's life. So your subconscious mind, something you believe, something you feel, that you're going to have to work through this, you're going to have to overcome this. Or it's going to cause a lot of stress in your life. And we don't need stress no more. Or you may feel pressured in some way. Don't pressure somebody. You know, you gotta make your decision on things. You gotta decide, is this gonna meet my goals? But remember, when you start weighing things, I don't like ultimatums, but you can't wait forever on something. 2, your life shouldn't be put on hold because someone else can't make the decision. And that's, I think, was where the conversation needs to come up. And very well, during the retrograde, it could come up in a moment in time of, if it's not going to work as far as a partnership, a relationship, a business thing, then you can just say, this is not going to work. It's not working for me. There's got to be some sort of change. And that is where Jupiter in conjunct, as you can see here, is in that conjunction with Uranus. It says something here has got to change. There's got to be some sort of radical change. You can see the term belts. I mean, this is showing you that the domicile is Venus. Venus rules Taurus. The moon is in exaltation, exaltation. The moon is there. It will go into Scorpio, where it will be in a fall, because it's going to be in opposition after this eclipse. When it goes through Scorpio. So Mars may have some influence here. Don't be hostile. Don't be aggressive. Just keep yourself calm and balanced. The term belt, which is this last belt over here, this is called the term belt, okay? So it's letting you know that the term, it's in that area of Jupiter, and it's in the decant of Saturn. So the term belt, like it said, is here in Jupiter. You can see the straight line here, Jupiter. But yet it's in that third decant of Saturn. You got to put some work in. You got to do something here that's beneficial, expansion and growth. You got to make the radical change where with society or with someone, there's going to be, you have the optimism to put the work in to say, okay, I need you to put more effort into this relationship, or I need you to do equal amount of work here. Give your 100% if you want me to give my 100%. Because relationships aren't 50-50. They're 100-100. Both giving to it. For something to grow out of this. If you plant something, if you plant a garden, you just can't go out there and just till up the ground and just throw a seed in there and just ignore it. No. Sometimes it's a daily attention that's got to be given to it. You know, you walk out there, you look at it, you see if it needs water. Okay, let's give it water. You see if it needs nutrients, fertilizer, whatever it is that it needs to grow. So then it produces the fruit or the vegetables that are needed. Don't expect something to do something when you're not giving it the work. You're not putting the work in. And then in time, you do reap the reward. Okay? So I just kind of want to go over it with you on that and let you know. One other thing here I've not talked about is where this moon will be coming into conjunction with this lot of fortune. Again, Venus is the domicile ruler of Libra. And its exaltation is Saturn. And it's in that turn belt of Saturn, and the decant is the moon. So it's in the first decant with the moon. That's going to be coming. The moon moves pretty quick, so does this. But you could have a lot of good fortune here if you put the work in. And over time, you will see how this is going to be beneficial, especially when this lot of fortune moves over here where the sun is. If you do the work and put the effort in and give something a lot of love, nurturing to someone who may need it, and lessons learned and forgiveness shown, when this gets over here with the sun, you're going to see some growth, luck. Because that part of fortune is a point in an astrological chart where it is calculated based on the position of your sun, your moon, and your ascending. Those are the three things that will tell. Because here, when it moves here, it'd be at the ascending. Here's the descending. And then the moon and the sun. It is not a planet, okay? A lot of fortune is not a planet. Make that clear. But rather a mathematical point that represents the intersection of the sun, the moon, and the ascending. And when that comes in, whatever the ascending is for you, wherever that is in your chart, and the moon and the sun intersect, the intersection of those three is a very beneficial time for you. You can have a lot of luck here, a lot of good fortune here. And the part of the fortune, it says to symbolize the area of your life where you where one, meaning a person, can find happiness, success, and fulfillment. Its placement in a person's chart is believed to indicate where they can experience a sense of abundance and well-being. Astrologers interpret the part of fortune, call a part of fortune, lot of fortune, wheel of fortune. Astrologers interpret the part of fortune in relation to the individual's natal chart to provide insight into the areas of the life that may bring them joy and prosperity. Keep in mind that astrology is a belief system and interpretations are subjective. Okay? Whoever's reading it. I also want to say something here about Lilith because I noticed that, Lilith, the moon did pass through, um, today is the 20th. Today is the 24th, isn't it? I think it is. Yeah. The eclipse is on the 25th. So this is Sunday on the 24th. I think I was doing Mars, wasn't I? Yeah, or something there. Anyway, I don't know. But I use the Lilith that I'm using here is not your normal the black moon Lilith, as you all may know that you've heard of it, okay? The Lilith I use is the mid Lilith. And this one is interpreted as she's connected to your inner shadow, but also the areas where you put your foot down. You set boundaries. You express anger. Lilith also relates to your inner authority, your sensuality, your sexuality, as well as you choose or you don't choose to go against the grain and defy the norms. It's where you openly resist or refuse to obey. To be a woman who defies convention. Like, when everybody says, well, you ought to not forgive them. Well, don't go with the norm. Don't go with the group. When you start going with the norms, sometimes you're just a sheep following the group. And following the group can be the worst thing in the world you can do. They can prevent your healing. They can they can cause misfortunes for you. And sometimes you have to go against the grain and not go along with what others say. You have to be in opposition to what is normal because you're unique. You're different. Your goals and your dreams are not their goals and their dreams. They've got to strive for theirs, and you have to strive for yours. And right now, with this Lilith, it's in a quincunx to Chiron. So, are you going to go against the norm in healing something? And it's connected to Mercury, communicating. People might say, well, I wouldn't talk to that person. After what all they've done to you and, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Stop listening to your damn friends. Listen to your own guide that's inside of you, talking to you. You'll know the right way to go if you follow your own instincts and your own spiritual guidance. The best advice I can give. You got to follow what that spirit tells you inside. If you need to put your foot down about some things, I get it. I understand it. But let it be your choice. Don't let other people tell you to set boundaries. Don't let other people tell you. A true friend is one who will listen, give an ear, and not try to tell you what you need to do in your life. That will encourage you to follow what and will ask you and say to you, what is your heart telling you? What is the spirit within you telling you? Can't never go wrong with that, because we all know have that little guidance within us that we know that something doesn't feel right. If it says avoid this turn or don't go that way or whatever, and you follow that intuition, you can't go wrong. That spirit within you talking to you is guiding you on your path. And a lot of people don't listen to it. They'll go along with the crowds. They'll go along with the norm. They'll be the sheep. They'll follow. But who are you following? Look at the person who's telling you this and look at their life. And if their life is so screwed up, then how in the world why would you take their advice when they can't even get their own life together? I'm just saying from what I see and what I'm looking at. Because quincunxes can be difficult. Quincunx is where the energies don't quite match, but you have to make some decision. And you know you got to make this decision. And you have to make the adjustment. Be willing to adjust in some way. And this is where you overcome the challenges of life. Anyway, that's kind of what I got for y'all. I'm gonna try and on each sign and let you know for each sign where this is gonna fall out. But I want to say, Venus is exalted right now in Pisces, and so the Sun is exalted in Aries. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. We've already talked about that. So these are good times right now to really feel that energy, that vitality of the Sun to do something here. Maybe follow those dreams if you're trying to create something, making it reality. So rethink your plans, and if you're putting them into motion and you're dealing with the karma in your life and you're learning those life lessons, we all make mistakes. But no, to me, I always feel like there's no mistake that cannot be rectified, that you can't change. You can't fix it. When you stop trying to fix things, mistakes, that's when you're lost. And if you go on and just keep moving in life and saying you don't make mistakes, then you're fooling yourself. You're kidding yourself on it. So anyway, I'm back for this. And I'll be talking some more. I still got some issues I got to deal with right now. I'm still not feeling all that grand. I'm really having a lot of trouble with my hips right now. Trying to walk, trying to stand, trying to move. And it's okay. I'll get through it. I just, my lower back, and also um, it's just a process that I'm just, I'm getting older. I'm just going to have to work through it. Um, I might be seeking out therapy again to help. Uh, I know it worked for me the last time for some time, but um, when you get old, your bones get weaker, and when you get that arthritis in your bones and your joints, and it makes life a little more difficult to live and a lot more painful. And I just happen to have in my left side hip arthritis and bursitis. So Bert and Art is having a good time down there. Putting me through it. So anyway, I appreciate y'all joining with me here. And oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong image there. Sorry about that. That out. Okay. I hope this has helped some for some of y'all. But I really feel like with this, you put the effort in. I really feel like next year, when that total eclipse comes and happens, um, you'll see something a lot different. I know it was a young lady that said something today. I read where she said she was leaving a job on April the 8th, which is the solar eclipse, which solars uh, deal with, and I'll talk about that one too. That this, it represents a new beginning, and she's taking on a new job, and she's doing this, and she's really looking forward, and she keeps her focus toward the horizon. I think she's gonna find a lot of new beginnings happening for her. Because she's doing this on the solar eclipse, which is all about new beginnings. Um, so stay optimistic. Don't let go. And always forgive. Forgiveness is a wonderful thing to do. Okay? So I appreciate you being here. Um, and I want to say I will see you later on. Bye for now.